All right, my clock says 12:50, so we will go ahead and get started. My name is Brent Stabiner. I work for Logan Consulting. We're an acuMatica reseller, and today's 30-minute presentation will be about the CRM workflow, basically going from leads to opportunities to sales and project quotes. So I have a quick PowerPoint presentation that I won't spend too much time with, and then I'll dive right into the demo because I know that's what everyone wants to see here. Very quick about Logan Consulting. So we're a professional services firm committed to helping businesses get the most out of investments in consulting. We've been doing ERP implementation since 1992, so we've been doing this a while, and we take more of a top-down approach where we drive. Our methodology is driven by business processes, and then we basically use the ERP. We fit the ERP within those processes. Specifically with acuMatica, we've been a partner for over 10 years now, and overall we help our clients with anything from ERP implementations to CRM to package software selections to even some strategic consulting and planning. So the agenda today, I'm going to first do a little background on the CRM functionality in acuMatica. Talk a little bit about the configuration that I needed to do before we got started, and then I'll dive right into the demo. We'll talk about accounts and contacts, then we'll go into leads and opportunities, and then those will create sales and project quotes. I'm going to try to leave a little bit of time at the end for questions, but Colin here is the moderator on our end, and so he'll funnel any questions you ask to me during the presentation. So feel free to put them in the chat, and then I'll try to answer all the questions by the end of the presentation. So CRM in acuMatica. So with acuMatica being a full functioning ERP system, there is also a CRM solution that work very well together. They're integrated pretty seamlessly. We have kind of three buckets here within CRM. There's sales, marketing, and support. Sales is more lead and contact management, activity and tasks. So once you get a lead from a contact, you record all your activities, create tasks, and then those lead into opportunities and eventually quotes, as we hope. Then there's marketing, which includes marketing lists, mass emails, marketing campaigns. So this is more of the taking advantage of that contact list and marketing to them. And then there's also support within CRM, which is mostly just case management, and then you can work, build time that you spend on those support cases. Today, though, we will focus strictly on the sales side. So we'll be right on this middle side here. Again, leads, contacts, accounts, contacts, leads, and opportunities. But we could do all other sessions on the other buckets as well. So the configuration that that we did ahead of time was first started with classes. So contacts, leads, accounts, opportunities all have classes. So, for a contact, there's several different use cases that you would use a class. They're mainly used to group contacts into classes based on specific characteristics, basically giving you a way to quickly and effectively manage the marketing and sales process. So when you create contacts and assign it to a class, that can categorize it as well as provide some insight into more information about that contact. Accounts, business accounts, they are very similar. Again, you usually group them based on specific characteristics. One example is you might need to give users the ability to group business accounts that represent companies of the same industry. So maybe you have banking accounts and supermarket accounts and pharmacy accounts. Another reason might be giving users the ability to group business accounts by sector. So maybe you have manufacturers, distributors, service providers. Same can be done with contact. Another way you can do contacts is through like lead source or through source. So maybe you have some contacts that you got from a marketing campaign, some that you got from a purchase list. So basically, you have the ability to identify what those classes are and how you want to use them. And then you start getting into lead and opportunities that also have classes. Lead classes, it might be, again, the industry, the sector, or the source of that lead. There's other ways to categorize those things, but those are just some examples. And then leads can then also, you can use lead classes to help assign those to different salespeople. So you might have leads by sector, and that people in there, you have a salesperson that deals directly with manufacturers and one maybe that deals directly with service providers. And then at the opportunity level, you can, again, classes, some examples of what you might use opportunity classes for are, products versus services, direct sales versus partner sales, standard opportunities versus ones with special offers and discounts. So yeah, just a few examples of some of those opportunity classes. Other configuration, duplicate validation. This is really nice functionality that basically can check to make sure we don't have duplicate accounts, contacts, leads, opportunities. So acuMatic provides very flexible tools to eliminate these records. So that way you don't have 5 different people named Jane Doe all for the same company, and you don't know which contact to choose when you're creating a lead, for example. So it's flexible in the sense that you can determine what is considered a duplicate. Do you go off of the phone number, the email, the address, and you can assign those all a score, and the total score, if it exceeds a value that you provide, it'll line it up as a duplicate. Then we obviously we have to get sales quotes configured, get your numbering sequences set up. But yeah, once you get an opportunity-based sales quote, you can use that to send out and then eventually create sales orders and invoices. We also have assignment maps. So once you create a lead, you can obviously manually assign that to someone, but if you have a large volume of leads, it could be take a lot of effort to assign those to each individually. There's assignment maps that kind of get grouped with approval maps that give you the ability to distribute leads, opportunities, even cases if you were using the support part, between owners, so an individual, or a work group, which is a group of people. So you can use any criteria you want on that lead, on that source, like the lead or the opportunity, to identify which salesperson to assign it to. And that's where those classes that I mentioned earlier come into play. You can use the classes to help with the assignment. And then I don't have time to show this today, but there is an Outlook add-in. Pretty much all of the activities that I'm showing can be done through the Outlook add-in. So if you get an email from someone that's linked to a contact, you can record any of these. You can create the contact, create an account, create lead or opportunity right from Outlook. That'll be a demo for another time, though. So let me just go ahead and show just a brief overview of these different classes. So here in contact classes, if I look at the sales lead for business, you can see there's some very basic data entry settings, but mainly there's attributes here. So I can set attributes to set the industry, the number of employees, the revenue. And then when you have a contact class, when it gets converted to an account, a lead, an opportunity, if the contact is lead BUS, then so will the lead class, essentially. So you can say that, you can have basically classes that are similar across all those different objects, and then have, service contacts, service contact class feed into service account class, feed into service opportunity class. Business accounts, and you'll start noticing these are mostly the same. So business account, you're just, again, some basic data entry. but it's mainly used to categorize. And if we go to our lead class here, same concept, just a couple of different data entry settings. You can assign a class to an assignment map so that it executes that assignment map when you assign that lead class. And then again, when you convert a lead to an opportunity, these are the class IDs that it'll use. You can also leave that blank and fill in the class ID manually. And then there's our opportunity class. Let's pull up the partner. Again, just a couple of data entry settings and a couple of conversion settings. You can see here, you can leave them blank and have them manually filled in as well. The only addition with opportunity classes are the stages. So I'll talk about that when we get to opportunities, but you can, each class can have different stages if you want that have different probabilities, so that when you're calculating potential sales in the future, that you can multiply the probability of the stage by the sales, projected sales amount. So that's really the only difference with opportunity classes. And then we have the duplicate validation I mentioned. So you can compare, so obviously the obvious ones are lead to lead, contact to contact, account to account, but you can compare lead to any of those other objects as well. So here are the fields that you're looking to find the match on. Here, for example, on a lead, if the email matches, it gives you a score of 5, and our validation score threshold is 5. So in this case, if the email matches, we know it's going to be a duplicate lead, or it can be a duplicate lead, I should say. And you can see here, you can allow or warn or block the creation at that point. So a lot of times I see clients just want the warning so they can maybe look into it and then determine if it's a duplicate or not. Same is true for all of these. So you can have different criteria for all these different duplicate validations. And then finally, we have the assignment map. So let me open up the opportunity assignment here. There's a lead assignment one as well. Actually, let me open the lead one. That one's a little straightforward, more straightforward. So you can see here you have different, it's pretty similar to an approval map, but we don't have any approvals. We just have actions of who to assign it to. So here we can say if the lead class is job, we're going to assign it to this employee and this work group. Where if it's a consumer lead, which again is a lead class, it's going to get assigned to a different employee. So yeah, that's where you can see these conditions. It's not just a lead class. You can pretty much use any field on the lead side to use to determine who you want to assign it to. All right, so yeah, that's some of the configuration I just wanted to walk through really quick. So for this demo, I'm going to lead you through creating accounts contacts. I'll talk about tasks, and then we'll qualify that lead, and then we're going to turn that lead into an opportunity, and then that opportunity into a quote. So I will talk through the accounts and contacts setup, but mainly want to focus on the lead and opportunity workflow. And then I will open it back up for questions. Should have some time at the end. So let me go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead and bring this back up. So we're going to start with the lead here. And if anyone here is a Seinfeld fan, I think you're going to catch some funny references here, but worst case, I'll laugh at them myself. So we're going to say that we're going to purchase some chicken wire. Let's say we get a lead. We're going to purchase some chicken wire. You'll notice that leads, you don't see a star for the required field. You don't technically need an account or a contact on a lead. Those are optional at this point, but typically you want to at least tie it to a business account. Eventually, when you get to converting that quote to an order, you will need to convert that account into a customer. You'll need an account to quote as well. Just at the lead stage, we don't want to. So I'm going to go ahead and pick my contact, Cosmo Kramer, and you'll see once I pick the contact, it's going to ask me to associate the contact with the lead. I do want to do that because so we can look at that contact and see that the lead is associated with it. And that lead then brought in the business account with it. And I'm going to remove the owner here just so we can see what the assignment map looks like. So that's really all you have to fill out here. If you want to put the source of that lead, again, you can use the class to do that. But if you're using class for something else, you always have this list of referral sources, so you can assign that here. I'll go through some of these tabs here pretty briefly, but they're pretty straightforward. Contact info on the lead, it pulled it here from the contact. But if you don't have a contact, certainly you can just fill this out manually. And then you can see here, you can actually create a contact from this record if you don't have a contact associated with it. So if you just get on a call with someone and immediately pull up the lead, and then afterward you want to create the contact and the account, you can do that all right here from the lead. So yeah, name, address, title, phone numbers, and emails here. On the CRM info tab here, here's that lead class. I believe this is the default lead class, so I'm going to leave that here as such. And then if it was assigned to a work group, that would be here. You can mention contact methods, just so you know that if you get a lead here and they prefer a phone call, you'll make sure that you call them instead of emailing. The attributes from that lead class you saw come right through right here. So I can set it like in the banking industry, and we've got 1 to 100 employees and company revenue 5 to 10 million, and maybe they're looking for some home garden and tools. So those attributes can really be useful for reporting. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So that's your kind of initial information that you're usually going to enter on this lead. So I'm going to save the lead now. Gives it our new lead ID here, Cosmo Kramer. And now we have a created lead with a news status. Once the lead is being worked on, so you filled out this initial information on these tabs, but maybe now you want to start recording activities like tasks, emails, events, meetings. That's requiring, now you'll have to open that lead to indicate it's being worked on by the marketing team or the lead qualification personnel. So I'm going to go ahead and open that lead. You get a list of reasons that acuCONNECT gives you out of the box. So I'm going to go with inquiry here. So now we have our status that's open. Now, if we look at the activities tab, we can go ahead. I'll open the create task button here. So now I could create a task and say like, hey, follow up call with Cosmo next week. And then I can give it a start date and then a due date of, let's say, next week. You can say 0%. I'm Maxwell Baker, so I'm the owner. It's an internal. I want it to be a reminder. Maybe it wants, maybe I have the 18th set aside for calls, so I want it to remind me at, 9 o'clock a.m. And then because you created that task from the lead, it filled in the lead information right here, so that task is associated, and make sure to follow up about potential interest. And then I'm going to have save and close that. Now we have an activity recorded against that. Other activities you can do. So obviously you can create an email. You can do that right in Acumatica and pull up your from email address, and it'll look like it's sent just from your Outlook. But that's where that Outlook add-in can come into play, and you can just send an email through there, and make sure on the add-in you would reference this lead, and that activity would show up here. Other activities you can do are creating chats, messages, phone calls, meetings, things like that. So yeah, maybe we create an event here too, talked at networking events, discussed interest level has increased or something. So yeah, those are the activities that you would record against that. I don't have time to record more. So once we're ready to qualify that lead, so qualifying, there's a couple, it's up to you to decide when a lead is qualified. Maybe you immediately qualify the lead because immediately all your leads are, of a qualified status. So you want to make sure that any lead that you enter in here is automatically qualified, so you qualify it immediately. Otherwise, you might have a certain point where to say maybe, hey, are we still interested? Maybe it's after a week, maybe it's after a phone call and email, and they say yes. Then you can go ahead and qualify that lead. Other reasons, maybe maybe they want a quote, so you immediately just qualify the lead. But maybe, so let's go ahead and qualify that lead. So that changes it to a status of sales-ready. So that means the lead has been qualified by the marketing team, or the lead, or if you have specifically a lead qualification team, just means that there's increased interest. It's up to you to determine when that happens. But nothing changes with everything here. You can still update information on this lead. You can still record more activities. But now you, when you're ready to say that this is an opportunity, then you're going to go ahead and accept that lead. So these different statuses are really up to you and how you want to, that's where that acuCONNECT flexibility comes in. So I'm going to just say it was accepted by sales, and we're going to convert it to an opportunity. And then it's going to bring in information here. We're going to say, hey, purchase chicken wire for new chicken coop, or for new apartment. Going to keep with the Seinfeld theme. And we'll do it today. It's going to, again, because of that lead class setup, it knows which business account class. Well, it knows what business account because I chose the contact, but it will also know which class, opportunity class right there to convert it to. That's the default. You can obviously change that. And then again, if there were attributes or user-defined fields, you fill that in. Then I'm going to hit create and review, which means I want to actually review that opportunity. So you'll notice that all that same information that came, it changed the subject because I changed that when I created the opportunity, but it brought over everything here from that opportunity, or from that lead. At this point, again, you can fill in an account and a contact. When you want to create a quote, that's when these become required. But even just an opportunity at this phase, you don't need to. Again, activities against that opportunity would show right here. If you go to relations, you'll see the lead is associated with this opportunity. So they're all tied together. The details here is where you would start building that estimate, essentially. So this is now, if you are just saying like, hey, I want to give a sales value at this point, I don't know what they're going to purchase, then you can check off manual amount here and just enter in a total. And then you say, hey, this is a $10,000 opportunity. Or you can fill in the details here, because these details will flow over to the quote. So if you kind of already have an idea of what they want to purchase, like because I talked to that person maybe a week ago, I know that they want to purchase some chicken wire here, and we know that it's going to be 10,000 feet, $2 a foot. That gives us 20,000 price. And then we also know they're going to need zip ties because you need to tie those chicken wires. And so let's say they need 100 of those. And at 42 cents each, we have $42. Now you can see here the detail total is 20,042. Now we have a projected sales value, essentially. And again, that can be filled out manually. So you can fill it out manually. You can fill these out line by line, or just enter a manual amount. And then our stage here will determine what our potential sales value is, because the solution one here has a probability of 40%. So it's 40% of 20,000 is our projected sales. Now you can, again, open the opportunity. Just like qualifying the lead is up to you. We're going to say it's qualified. We'll say it's at solution stage. Now our opportunity is open. Obviously, we can come in here, update the stages. We can record more activities against this. But what I want to show here is that we have an owner here. We don't have an owner. So I just wanted to show kind of how that assignment works. So you see in our processes here, we have assign leads, assign contacts. So I'm going to open up the assign leads. And you can see this is a list of all of our unassigned leads. I can search for Cosmo here. Ooh, that didn't come up. But yeah, this is where you could assign those leads. And I'm just going to open one up here and check the box, click process. It'll go run through that assignment map depending on that. And so if we go back to this lead, our owner's blank, but if I refresh it, now we have our owner, Rick Domenico. And so that probably was done based on the lead class. So super easy if you're assigning leads. If you need to assign leads in bulk, you can process all and let the assignment map do that for you. And then all the salespeople now have new leads. But you can always manually assign this as well. So okay, so now we have our opportunity filled out. I'm going to create a quote. Here, I'm going to create a sales quote. You can set the current unit prices. Maybe I've manually filled those in, but if you don't check that box, then you will automatically, if I check this box, sorry, it will automatically look for the pricing that we have set up for that item instead of me manually typing it in. And you can have it override the manual prices. And same thing with discounts here. So I'm going to hit create and review. Now we have a sales quote linked to the opportunity. And it brought in all the same information. Again, you can just do a manual amount if you just want to say, here's a quote for 20,000 that maybe they just need some sort of quote document to get approval. You can just put a line here and say, services, and then put you make it a very generic one. You can print. I have to get approval for it. It's in a draft status. You can have approval workflow set up to do this. So I'm going to request approval, and I believe I can approve it since I am the approver. And then once it's approved, you can start printing quotes. You can email the quote. So there's a send button. Here's the print quote. So you can see what that quote looks like on paper. Yeah, and then that quote, you can edit that quote if you want to. If you want to just have one quote record for that opportunity, or if they have multiple quote versions, you can go back to the opportunity and create several quotes if you want. So I'm going to go ahead and create a project quote this time. Because if you, so a sales quote, it will feed into a sales order. You can also create a project quote that will then feed into a project. And so it looks very similar. But now you're thinking more like a construction company or a company like us that does consulting. Instead of having a details tab, you have this estimation tab where, again, you can just fill out generic descriptions and amounts, or you can actually reference service items or physical goods as well. And then you have project tasks that you need to fill out. But again, you can submit the quote as a draft or for approval. Got to pick a project templates. So what kind of projects is this? We're going to say it's an internal one. We're going to go ahead and submit it, and it goes through that same approval process. And then once that is done, you can print, email, or you can convert to a project. So we go back to our opportunity here. We see the quotes tab. We have both of these quotes. So you can have as many quotes as you want linked to an opportunity, which is really nice. You can have several versions. And then you just set one primary. Let's just set the sales quote as the primary. I'm going to go back to the sales quote. And once so this was approved, I'm going to go ahead and mark it as accepted. So they accepted the quote, and then I'm going to, and then maybe someone else comes in to actually convert it to an order. So they mark it as converted. And then you can go ahead and create your order from there. Same is true on the project quote, except here, you're instead of converting to an order, you're going to convert to a project right here. All right, sorry I had to fly through that end. bits, but that is pretty much everything I wanted to cover today. So yeah, here's our contact information, including my email address. We have a general Logan email and phone number if you have further questions. If we have any questions, then we can certainly answer those for you afterwards. But if anyone has any now, I can stay on for a few extra minutes. Yes.
Brent, I have one from Michael Natoli that says, can you talk about CRM quotes to sales order quotes?
Yes. So if you purchase the CRM module, then you have access to sales quotes within marketing here. So marketing has its own area for, it's in the opportunities one. You have sales quotes and project quotes as they're under activities that are actual documents you can send out. If you don't have the CRM module, you can still generate sales quotes. All those are essentially just a sales order with a different type. So the order types here for sales orders, there is one that's specifically for quotes. It won't be included in your availability and inventory availability calculations. So yeah, it gives you the ability to quote without having to actually purchase the whole CRM module. But with the CRM module, the sales quotes definitely get more functionality. With the sales quote here, you're limited to just what you would enter on a sales order. But as you saw on the sales quote or the project quote, there's activities linked to it. So you can see all the emails back and forth. You saw that you emailed them version 1 and then version 2, and then you see the email back that they accepted it. And so, yeah, there's a lot more to track here on the sales and project quotes.
Okay. Brent, I have one more from Erica, and she's asking, is there a good way to create customer cost estimates for each of their available options? For example, if our customer can choose one of 3 routes and we want to give an estimate for each path, even though it will not be the exact amount to convert to the sales order. Does that make sense?
Okay, so is there a good way to create customer cost estimates for each of their available options? Trying to understand this exactly. So kind of like bidding. Okay, so yeah, so if you can't, I think I understand what you're saying. If you're quoting a customer based on the cost or based on an item or service that you have to get from a vendor, and you need to go out and get 3 quotes and just to determine what price you're going to quote them at. There's not really a way to link this with like the purchasing side, but on the purchasing side, you can certainly create requisitions and do your bidding there, and then keep track of it there. But we actually are going to come across this in design with a client of ours. You can't really manage it. You can't really do much with with actually sending out bids and sending out like project or purchase quotes to vendors. You can't really link that to the quote, but you can certainly perform that activity. And then you could. Yeah, exactly. 3 separate quotes is what I would say. You would have a quote for each one, and then maybe you can, on a reference number or something, you can link that to the requisition that you do on the purchasing side. So there is a little bit of manual work there to link them, but you certainly can. No problem. Any other questions at this point?
I see one more from Nicole.
Okay.
Can you see it? It says they attach vendor quotes to their opportunities and create separate lines based on the vendor quotes with separate customer quotes.
Gotcha. Yep.
Okay. And I guess that may be my question.
Yep. Attach that file to the opportunity or to the opportunity here. And then on the requisition, you can certainly like find a place to enter the opportunity number so you can link those. And again, here's the contact information. Feel free to reach out to us after the session. All right, I think, yeah, no problem, everyone. I think we're all set to jump off then. Thank you, Colin, for being a great moderator, and thanks everyone for joining today. Hope this was useful and beneficial, and maybe we can help you with something in the future. So have a great day, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the conference.